Well, let's excite you a little bit in the kitchen. More traditional Japanese food. We're making some traditional Japanese desserts now. You just have to try mochi. Let's talk about mochi, guys. It's a popular treat. It's a rice cake made of glutinous rice that is pounded together to form a smooth, squishy and chewy texture. How's that? Adri Louw, pastry chef from Mochi Mochi, based here in Cape Town, is here to tell us all about this and how to make these very unique treats. Audrey, what on earth?
You might have noticed I was doing like the excited food dance beforehand. Mochi Mochi sounds like the most incredible place. I'm actually getting goosebumps just talking. You gave us a little bit of background into the life history, but just encapsulate it for us right now. Why are you so proud of Mochi Mochi and Japanese cuisine, in fact?
I mean, Asian culture in general has always been a love of ours, and since we actually started delving into Japanese specifically and went to Japan, we just fell in love with it all, like hook, line and sinker. So we now want to know everything and all about it. And once you start eating these completely different things, it blows your mind completely.
And we'll know why you love it so much.
So much love to go into it, and all of it is just a little bit less sweet than you think it should be. So it's a little bit more.
Oh, that's dangerous. That is very, very dangerous. You've brought a beautiful variety of different kind of desserts. Can we call them desserts? Do we call them pastries? Do we call them mochi? What do we call them?
You can call them sweet treats, I guess.
Treats. Yeah, they are. They're beautiful. So maybe a good place to start is with a bit of a practical. So you're gonna teach Uncle Tubbsy here.
Yeah, and tell us what it is as well. Take us through the whole steps, all the steps.
So on my silpad over here, I have the mochi skins lying down already.
Mochi skins?
So this is the obviously actual mochi that I've now already cooked and pounded. And it's now all elastic and squishy and stretchy.
Wow. So that's already done.
So this is now the actual mochi that they call mochi. And then we do these little truffles, because in Japan they're actually quite a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But I mean, to have that mouthful of chew is a bit hectic. So we made our little mochi truffles instead.
Nice.
So we fill them also with white bean paste, which we flavor, which we'll see here, black sesame and milk tart, which is our little South African spin.
I love that.
Of course, bringing in some South African love. Where the other guys is actual chocolate truffles. So this one is a matcha flavored with white chocolate and
We're
matcha.
going to get our hands dirty. I need to get some paper. I need to get like working here. I mean...
So normally after a day of work, I'm full of like corn flour and call it a little mochi dust.
Yeah.
But do you feel, because there's a lot of pressure when you're cooking in a traditional space, you know, you have to tread lightly because there is obviously a strong cultural significance to what you're making. So it obviously... It took you guys a while to make sure that you get this just right.
Yes, and of course we had to go to Japan and eat it there as well. So we can't just, Google a recipe, eat it and go, oh, I think I'm doing this right.
And how long were you there for?
I went the first time for 2 weeks and then the second time also for 2 weeks. So
please don't ever leave us for Japan. Please promise. Okay, let's get through this.
Just keep going there and bringing it back. We love that.
All right, so now we're going to fold the filling inside of the mochi.
Okay.
So I bring the two sides together and I pinch. It sort of sticks together. It's very sticky. The other two sides, push, and then I just push these two together as well, like that, for my little ball to make it nice and smooth.
So you want it completely tight.
Yes, and you don't want to stretch it too much because you don't want the bottom to be thicker than the top, even all around.
Uniform,
that's also the whole everything Japanese. Be very specific, everything perfection.
Precision.
And I'm also one of those people. So
how many of these have you made, do you think, in your life?
That is a great question. I would probably not even be able to answer that question. Definitely more than 1,000 by now.
1,000 hours done.
Once I started my little addict, it's
Can I try one?
Of course,
you better, dude. You better do it.
And you do.
Unfortunately, I can't. We've got to manage our social distancing, but he will ably do it for the team. So I understand, because you guys have really thought about making Japanese food accessible. Talk me through the levels of Mochi Mochi. How does that work? The restaurant,
so we have Ching Ching next door, which is the levels.
Okay.
Levels. So we have the street food at the bottom.
How cool
and we have our momiji in the middle floor, which is our fine dining. And then right at the top, we have our rooftop bar that's been there since the get-go, since we opened. And then Mochi Mochi,
that's a cool experience. Right in your hands. Then you can still give it more ball action.
Are you proud?
And then Mochi Mochi is obviously the little spin-off that came from my little pastry section that's been out to the side. It's now our little pop-up with molten toffee next door.
Oh, man, it's such a brilliant concept. Can I taste?
Please
One of
do.
these. You've been waiting to do that.
So just to show you, I finished this one off. So all of them, so you can see what's inside. This one we dust off with a little bit of matcha, or a lot of matcha. So you know exactly what's
So
inside.
pretty.
Okay.
Same with this one, black sesame, Mocktail. So you can start with whichever one you like. And I
Okay, which
can
one are
borrow
you going
your
to try? I'm
cup.
going to, seeing as you put all the effort into the matcha one, I'm going to give that a go.
So is the whole idea to get just all sorts of different chocolates going inside
Yes.
them?
Yeah,
so
so
you
we
can really
play
make
around.
a variety. I
Yes.
like that. How does it taste, G-Man?
Squishy. Give him a bit.
It's exactly right. It's not overly sweet.
Yeah.
The texture, it really is squishy and gooey.
And it's definitely something to get used to. But at least, like we said, if you have the chocolate inside, once you get past the weirdness, there's something familiar in there.
You'll debate because it's just different to
Yeah.
anything that I've had before. But once you get into it, I think
you get
you
into
will.
the swing of it. But there must be some sort of technique to eating, you know, a mochi. Do you just throw the whole thing in your mouth and just like gobble it, or
I would
do you
say
just
probably
like?
2 bites. For this,
Okay, well,
for
I
the
failed in
truffle.
that endeavour,
But
'cause I just
mean,
put-
you know,
I shoved the whole
that's
thing in,
also
but
fine.
it-
That's
'cause it
why
was
it's
so
so
nice.
perfect that it's you know, a bite size.
You're doing the milk
instead of a
tart
big
one. How's that?
So this is our local lack of flavour.
Very chewy, eh?
Yes, very chewy. You do find yourself sometimes craving
Audrey, is it your birthday today?
It is.
Oh, that's so cool. Happy birthday.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming here and celebrating your birthday with us in style. You brought your best party favours with. So we've got a beautiful range. I mean, these look exquisite. Talk us through what else you've brought here before I eat it.
Awesome. So this is our Mitsurasi Dango, which is also then a different sort of rice dumpling, which is not pounded, but molded instead. And then in Japan, they actually grill it over an open fire and then get the soy caramel over the top. But this one, because I don't always have fire, you know, just
When
close
would you
by.
have those, for example? So is it for like special occasions or just if you're looking
These
for
they
dessert
actually
anytime?
always have on the streets as well.
Oh,
This one.
so that
Okay, like street food vibes.
And a lot of these other Japanese streets they
I'll ask you
normally
to swing
have
that down
with
to
tea,
my
of course.
friend
Yeah.
there.
Thank
with
you.
green
Looks
tea
so pretty.
for tea time. Yes.
You want to take photos of it before you eat it, eh?
No, this is done here. I hope they took the photos beforehand.
So yeah, this one I just fry in the pan with a bit of butter. So yeah, also a bit of squishy.
A bit of a savouriness to it.
But this one has a bit of the savouriness, and the soy is then instead of a bit of salt to get that, you know, salted caramel idea. But yes, so this one is definitely
like that.
savoury. And a bit of kinako on top, which is toasted soybeans that's been ground.
I love that they're not too
that's
sweet,
nice,
so you
eh?
can really dip and have all
Yes.
of them.
I'm coming
in
back for you, my
one.
little friend. I'm coming back for you. Oh, in these beautiful buns.
Yes. They're called melon pan.
Melon pan.
So obviously Japan didn't start with bread. The Portuguese brought the idea over
really?
when they went
Okay.
over, yes. And then the times where rice was a bit scarce in world wars and things, they started eating more breads and they became a bit more sweeter because it was also a bit more for tea times and things. The specific one, they're still trying to figure out where the exact backstory is, but it looks exactly like a melon, which is where the melon idea comes from, melon
Okay.
pan, because pan meaning bread.
Okay.
And yeah, there's no melons actually inside. It's just some milk bread and a little cookie on top.
I love
So
the
yes.
design of it.
It's
that looks
beautiful.
so good.
And then standing
And then-
proudly on this beautiful plate, what is our...
The Japanese cheesecake, which I've also now made into obviously a little bite size. It's also the whole idea of mochi mochi, you can have more than one thing.
That's it.
And then we have our miso caramel on the side, which you can just pour over a little spoon.
You'd obviously melt that a little bit. Oh, it's
Yes.
done.
Wow.
And
Look
there you go.
that.
Like a taco.
That's why it's called a treat, eh?
Absolutely beautiful. Come, dude, I'll give you a little taste of
Graham's
this.
not
You can
wasting
bring
time.
me your...
Well, listen, if you are ever
Pass me your
in
plate.
Cape Town, do pop in at Mochi Mochi to try a traditional flavoured mochi or give one of their South African-inspired ones a try. They've got so much variety there. And maybe the question is, have you ever tried any of these traditional Japanese desserts? We'd like to hear from you. Please do let us know on our Facebook Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. Use that hashtag Expresso Show. Adri, happy birthday! And thank you so much for dropping by and bringing all of these fantastic treats.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me.
You clearly are very good at what you do. I love the fact that you have taken the time to really immerse yourself in the culture and eat the food, but bring a little flavour to South Africa, and it sounds like a magical place. I'm definitely date night. I'm coming. I'm taking my beautiful fiancé to your
Amazing.
little treasure trove of Japanese delights. But have the most amazing birthday.
Thank you so much.
Go and roll another 1,000 of these. All right, let's try the cheese.